When were you born? When were you born?
1947, December the 13th, 1947.
What was life like as a kid?
Well, went to school, studied a lot, played a lot of sports. Grew up in Baltimore City.
How did you grow up? What things did you do?
Well, let's see. I grew up. Like I said, I played a lot of sports. Went to a lot of baseball games. Read some books. And then I just hung around with my friends.
What was your family like growing up?
Well, my mother and father were separated when I was 5, so I lived with my mother, my grandmother, my aunt, and my uncle. I didn't have any brothers and sisters, so it was kind of nice. I mean, my mother had to work, my grandmother kind of raised me, so I had a pretty decent childhood.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Southwest Baltimore, Baltimore City.
What schools did you go to? High school.
You went to Allum Elementary School and Junior High?
This high school.
Edmondson High School.
If any, what sports do you play?
Now.
Sports.
Tennis. I played tennis 4 times a week and I walk.
What sports did you play back then as a kid?
As a kid, I played baseball, I played football, and basketball.
What was the reason you joined the Army?
I didn't join the Army. I was drafted.
All right. What year and how old were you at the time?
It was December the 14th, 1967, and I was 20 years old.
What was life like during your time in the Army?
Okay, like basic training and all?
Yeah.
Well, the first thing you do, you go to basic training, and that's 8 weeks of learning the Army ways of doing things, being military, a lot of discipline, a lot of training, schooling.
How did you adapt to your surroundings?
In the service?
Yeah.
Well, it's like anything else. You know, you go into the service and you just got to adapt because there's no way you're leaving there for 2 years once your tour's up. So it's hard to adapt to. You know, it's a lot of different rules. You know, you have to learn how to handle weapons. You have to learn how to march a formation, get along with people, and just look out for the guy that's going to be with you. Just protect one another.
What were some things or lessons you learned from being in the Army?
Probably self-discipline. I learned to, take one day at a time. Count on your buddy if you needed help. Things, you learn so many stuff. You learn so many stuff in the service. Stay in shape, physical training, just things like that.
What did your parents have to say towards the whole situation of joining the Army and going to war?
Oh, my mother wasn't really too happy with that. I'm the only one, so I never had any brothers or sisters, so I was an only child. So they were kind of scared and didn't know what to expect because it was around the time of the Vietnam War.
What was life like before you joined the Army?
It was nice. I was working. I had a car. I had a lot of freedom, could do what I want to, go different places. Still played sports.
What was your rank?
Specialist 4.
Where were you when you deployed, and what year?
Okay, I deployed out of I deployed out of Oakland Army Base.
Where was that?
Oakland Army Base, and it was. Let me think. It was in May. It was in May of 25th, 1968.
What year is that?
1968.
What was life like during the war?
Well, you're away from your family. You're in a different environment. You have to learn how to live in hot weather. It's over 105, 110 degrees every day. You just gotta adapt to the different environment you're in.
What was life afterward?
Oh, afterward, I got out of service and I went back to work, and it wasn't. When I first got home from Vietnam, it wasn't real easy to adapt to be back home. You know, it takes some time because I was there for 13 and a half months, and it was a lot different to come home and to adapt back to civilian life. Doesn't take long, you know, a couple of weeks, a month or something, just to, you know, to get back to the way it was before you went to the service.
Was a member of your family once part of the Army? Any relatives?
I had an uncle that was in the Army. And my father was in the Army too, so there's two of them.
How old were you when you retired?
63.
Is there any stories worth repeating that you remember?
From the Army?
From Vietnam.
Yeah, there's a couple of different stories, you know, different things about, you know, kind of like we got overrun one night. I was on a base camp with like a real small base camp, and I was in the 86 Signal Battalion Signal Corps headquarters detachment. So we got overrun one night. They came right through the bunker line, ran through a bunker, and then we had 4 or 5 snipers for like 3 or 4 days on a base camp that we had a hard time getting them out or finding them.
And I think that's it.
Okay.
All right.
All righty.